Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to cover everything on this coming project, but there's a huge project that I'm kicking off now on my blacksmith shop, and that is this. This wall is absolute crap. Um, the You're looking at the south wall, the east, west, and north wall. That's all framed in. I'm sorry, poured concrete. We'll walk around. You can see it's built into a hill, such that kind of at the high point down there where the power comes in, the top of the concrete's like, you know, 8 inches or so above ground, slopes a little bit. Uh, so from an insulation standpoint, it's pretty good. But that south wall is an absolute dumpster fire. I've told people there's kind of like two types of old farm properties. There's the farmer that was very successful and all of his buildings are tip top. And then there's this one where you take one glance at this and you kind of realize that this building was likely, this wall in particular, was likely framed in using lumber from like an old shed that blew down in a storm or something like that decades prior. It's just haphazardly thrown together, draftier than all heck. You can see right there, nice big gap of daylight. Another one right there. There's gaps all over this thing. Got these huge blocks of styrofoam. You can see a huge gap right there. This was like a door at some point in time, but it was screwed shut, so I can't even open it. But yeah, it's a total hack job. So the plan is to rebuild this entire wall. See this? That's allegedly a load-bearing beam. It's hilarious. I mean, and then they've got this 2x4 scab to it on the side that actually kind of supports. Like this has got to go. This top plate all the way across, by and large, looks fine. So essentially, I think what we're going to be doing here is kind of 8 feet at a time. It's a 20x40 shop, so 8 feet at a time, starting from the west here, moving down. Got the wall, keep that top plate shored up. Friend of mine's got some 4x4 oak from shipping. He works at a industrial blacksmith shop, like big industry, like 50,000 pound forgings. He's got oak 4x4s that are used in shipping massive billets of steel that the company subsequently just scraps. So I'm going to use some of those to shore up the roof before I start hacking apart the wall here. But that's going to be a massive project, and at the end of the day, the objective is to have this entire wall rebuilt with 2x6 framed lumber, insulated, moisture barrier on the outside, sheet metal siding. I'm going to have a window, but not that one. That's just single pane. There's no insulating property to that at all. So that's going bye-bye. I'll have a smaller window, maybe two, depending on how cheap I am. And then instead of this whole double door thing, I might keep the double door concept and just build two framed in doors, similar fashion to this, where the doors are made of 2x6 and insulated, and then like weather strip in between to keep draft out. Haven't made up my mind on that yet, just in case I need to get, you know, another machine in here if that happens. I'd like to think I'm done collecting machines, but you never know. But I will have a personnel door, just so I'm not opening up this large area and losing heat out of the shop. And then the coup de grace of the whole thing is I'm going to have a propane furnace shop heater put in down toward that end, and that'll be thermostatically controlled to keep my shop at, you know, 45 degrees or 50 all throughout the winter. And that will give me a magnificent outbuilding at the end of the day. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of work. I took off PTO. Today's the 21st of November, and then next week is Thanksgiving week. And so I'm off all of next week. So I've got today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thanksgiving's Thursday, so that's kind of out. But I've got a few days to hack this apart. So if I'm able to fix this, that would be excellent. I've got, you know, 8 feet at a time, 8 feet in a day. I should be able to handle that, right? I don't know. I'm not a construction guy, but we'll figure it out. So like I said, I'm not going to cover the entire thing because I really need to focus on getting this done. But I will periodically take some video, sort of like progress reports, and then stitch them together for a video at the end of the day when it's all said and done and I'm a happy camper. So, all right, I'm pausing it here. So this was a door at some point. I just removed that. There was nothing underneath it. The door was essentially flush with the dirt right there. There was a bunch of great stuff foam sealing it, which I thought was hilarious. This is the best part though. This is a load bearing, what would that be? It's like it's bigger than, oh, that's 2 2x6s nailed together. Load bearing, and that's sitting on a sill plate that is only about, what, a quarter actually contacting the slab. This entire thing should be on the slab. So that's awesome. There's all kinds of BS with this thing. This is going to be fun. So I think my plan of attack for today is going to be progressing all the way to here. So this is another load-bearing beam. Not this particular part, that's just tacked on there for the hinge, because this apparently was another door. Looking inside, you can see it goes to the beam right there. Let's zoom in on that. Right on the what would be the west side of the window. So gutting all of this out. Again, looking at that top, it looks okay. Seeing the construction now, I thought it was like 1 2x6 going all the way across, but it's actually these got to be 2x8s that are load bearing, which is good, and then a 2x4. So I don't even know what that whole thing would be. That would be like 7 inches, or it'd be 6.5 inches. So that should be fine. And that's also not entirely contacting the slab. Yeah. So we got work cut out for us. Oh, and this is also the point where I've got my 500-gallon propane tank. It comes into the wall right where I'm pointing. So it's buried under the ground and then snakes up there. So this is already off. I haven't used propane since, May, I think. So it's been 6 months since I've even turned it on. So I can go ahead and disconnect that from my header there and disconnect it from the tank and fish that out. So better get to it. So this is where we're at. It's about 11 feet that I've got. I intended to do like 8 foot at a time, but it kind of made sense to just go all the way up to this this post here. So looking at this wall, it's fairly straight, sighting down to the door. But the really dumb thing that we got going on here is the header construction. So you've got a double plate of 2x8 right here, and these are all, you know, nicely bird's beaked or whatever they call that. And then on the other side here, this is a flat, horizontally oriented 2x4. I do not know why they put that there. Beats the heck out of me. Maybe just to have more surface for a 2x6 studs. I guess that's the only way I can make sense of it. But anyhow, when you drop a plumb bob from the outside of this plate straight down, it is off the concrete slab. And drop a plumb bob from the inside of the 2x8 plates here, and it's right at the edge. So basically, if I went straight down, perfectly level, or plumb rather, from the 2x8 header all the way down, I would be right here off the slab. I don't know what the hell sense that makes. I am inclined to think that the roof didn't shift, but who knows? And there ain't much that I can do about it. So what I essentially came up with my father is that you can see all the spray foam. I had to cut out all the spray foam to expose the 2x8s, and I'm going to build up 2 more 2x6s stacked up on the inside of that. And again, this reference face right here is in line with the slab. So if I have 2 2x6s coming out there, then I've got, you know, 3 inches. So basically almost this entire 2x4 horizontal will be supported by those 2x6s, and they'll basically just be anchored like all hell to the existing 2x8s out there, and I will just frame in from there against the 2x4 here with a pressure treated 2x6 flush with the slab. So, and then 16-inch on center with the 2x6 studs. So it'll work. I'm pretty confident it'll be strong enough. And that's just this first segment. So it's kind of late in the day right now. I got off to a late start today because I was up late last night working on 3D modeling for another blacksmithing project, which you guys will see some later date. But today's Friday, so tomorrow's plan is to completely finish framing in this whole section, this 12-foot, or not quite 12-foot section, and then begin ripping out another, 10, 12 feet, what have you, and just chug along as quickly as I can in order to get this whole thing framed in. I think I'm still okay on time. I was kind of hoping to have one section framed in already on day one, but I got off to a late start. It's my fault, but I think I'll be all right. That's it for now. Decent progress so far. Still got a long way to go. This is day 2, Saturday. So I got that wall installed. I kind kind of misbought and only got a 8-foot on top. I should have got a 10-foot. I'm not worried about it because it's just going to continue along anyhow. Bottom is pressure treated 10-foot. So this is all very nicely lined up with the slab right on the edge of it. And as you can see, it's lined up with the inside of the two 2x6s, and then this is that horizontal 2x4. And coming inside, you can see what I did last night. I had to cut away the spray foam insulation, which that was a big pain in the ass, and I got a bunch more of it to do. But I installed double 2x6s right above this 2x4. This 2x4 originally was not qualified as a load-bearing piece of wood because it was just nailed in kind of that way from this side into the two 2x8s that are the load-bearing wall there. And this, I'm assuming, was only installed just so you have a total 6.5-inch width for framing and insulation and whatnot, which the only insulation was that thick styrofoam over there. So yeah, now with these two 2x6s thoroughly screwed into the two 2x8s on the other side, now I'm plenty confident that this 2x4 can take load. And so the wall is lined up nicely with that, and on the ground obviously lined up perfectly with the slab. This is all anchored in with screws coming up here. It's anchored into the far wall. I do have Tapcons that I'll anchor the base plate into the concrete, but that can come later. It is taking load right now. So these 4x4s here, one that I'm standing right on top of, and then one behind me, they're all free floating now because the wall is taking the load. So I'm pretty happy with that, considering I don't claim to know anything about construction. So we're on to phase 2 now, where I gutted this section just a couple of minutes ago, and this little bit right here gives you a glimpse into what the whole wall is bearing on, because I ripped out that one before I got video of it. So what we have is, first of all, in this particular area of Wisconsin, it's extremely sandy soil, like almost beach sand. And as soon as you dig down, you get very, very nice, like legitimate sand. So our load-bearing situation here is this little bit of 1x nailed onto this 2x6 probably. And here's the concrete slab. There's where it ends. And this was just pushed up against there. And that's it. It was just sitting on basically the load-bearing wall was half on concrete and half on this extremely sandy soil, which would obviously erode away very readily. There's no gutter here, just drips straight down. Yeah, that's a terrific recipe for a sagging wall. So that's what we're here to fix. We're going to get the entire wall loaded on the concrete. Yes, it's going to cost me a couple inches of, well, actually about 6 inches of my total building width, but I'm totally fine with that. It'll be well worth it when everything's tightened up and insulated. So my objective today is to get this whole section completely gutted and framed in. And I'm probably going to get a couple more replacement beams here. I'm probably going to maintain this conceptually with a 6x6. That'll be, again, entirely on the concrete slab and acting like a load-bearing support. Again, I don't claim to be a structural engineer or to know anything about construction, but it seems sensible to me that every 10 feet of this 40-foot wall will have a 6x6 as sort of an additional bolster to the support. This is another one right here. This one's actually like almost might keep it because, yeah, there is a little bit of a shim in here, but yeah, it's otherwise pretty good. It's solid. The length is pretty good relative to the height of the wall, unlike that one over there that's just scabbed together with scraps. But yeah, we'll get it. It'll be done right as I know how. So that's it for now. So this is day 3, Sunday. Progress so far. Everything there is gutted and ready for a wall to go in. I think I covered yesterday that there's this kind of dumb inset in the concrete slab. It's even dumber when you consider that on this side of it, the east side, it's a full 5.5 inches, which is fine for a 2x6, and on this side it's like 3. So 2x6 sticks out a couple inches. Whatever. In between, so the width of this whole span is 8 feet. So I'm going to be installing another beam just like this one here on top of that. Obviously not that board, it's going to be a whole pressure treated 2x6 going further east. And then I've just got the toe jack right there supporting the wall. And then in between here, I'm building out this frame. So this is going to have a window in it. Well, here we are on day 4 progress. It's evening now, it's almost 6 o'clock. Not quite where I wanted to be, but not terribly far. The wall is 100% framed in. Well, I guess probably 99% framed in. The only thing I have left to do is, this is a 2x6 here. I need to rip that out and cut and install a 6x6 beam secured to timber behind it, and then that will be the the door support. So it's going to be double doors, but they're going to be considerably narrower, which frankly is what I want. I did not need a friggin' 8-foot wide double door. So yeah, vetoed that. The windows installed, all the walls are secure, both top and bottom. Much as I hate to admit it, this right here is the only perfectly level in both planes piece in the whole thing. The section of wall that has the window in it is pretty close to level, but the rest of it, I tied in the bottom to be even with the slab, and I tied in the top to be even with the header. And it simply isn't level because the slab was not properly poured relative to the roof. I can't do anything about that. It's been a pretty major crap show as far as shimming goes. I figured for efficiency's sake, I was going to kind of figure the average length that I needed to make each stud. Pretty much when I kicked off the project, and I came up to 75.5 inches for all the studs. So 78.5 total clearance with the 1.5 inches of the top and bottom plates. And there's places where it's a 1/2 inch off, and so I have some major gaps that I've had to fill. It is what it is. The slab isn't perfectly, the slab's not even level, not even close. And then the header coming across actually has sort of a low spot right here, and it kind of dips up a little bit that way and dips up a little bit this way. It's whatever. It's the best I can do with the existing structure. Windows installed. This was a used window from a neighbor who got rid of it. They replaced windows, and the Jacamos that came and uninstalled the old window just went to town with a Sawzall and ripped that whole sort of lip that's supposed to be all the way around the window that you then seat into the frame, and then you secure it to the frame with that lip. Well, that is pretty much all gone. There's fragments of it, so I just lined it up as best I could and screwed it in through the frame. It's a vinyl frame window, so it's fine. Both windows are crank outs, all that works just fine. And yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, I started putting the strips down for securing the siding. So at this point, this section of wall, roughly 11 feet, is ready for Tyvek and sheet metal. This section is going to be a little bit more finagling to put another strip underneath the window and sort that out so I can put siding up. And then the rest of the wall will be pretty quick to tack up 4 strips for the Tyvek and siding. I'm hoping to get that done this evening. I got to take a dinner break because I'm starving. Shouldn't take me terribly long to install all of that and then Tyvek it, because we are supposed to get a little bit of light rain tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. Here we are on, what is this, day 6. So it's been a couple days. I haven't shot anything because I had help over here giving me a hand with the siding and everything. But yeah, here we are. All the siding is done. The windows in, trimmed, and all that good stuff. Not too shabby. A friend of mine had a building recently put up for his own blacksmith shop, and so he kind of saw a thing or two about how all this works and should go together. So let's go ahead and go inside. There's an absolute mess in here because all the construction, but everything is tightened up. So today's objective, this is Thanksgiving today that I'm shooting this. And the plan today is to build the door, get that taken care of, and then the shop will be fully enclosed. And then the next step, which we won't be able to do today because obviously stores are closed, but get some insulation to start sealing this place up. We've still got, you can see gaps and whatnot there, and light coming in the top. That's just, you know, the fitment of everything on this haphazard header that's not straight. Again, the header coming along here, you can see that old wood. I decided to leave it because it wasn't rotted. It wasn't straight either, but it wasn't rotted. So it still had plenty of integrity. And so left well enough alone, and we'll seal the rest of it up with insulation and gray stuff and any of the fine cracks. So the door will be pretty easy. I'm just going to frame them in like a section of wall, but with 2x4 instead of 2x6. They'll be insulated, and they'll have the same sheet metal siding on the outside, but with black J-channel trim going around them, just in order to kind of accent the doors to make it obvious, hey, there's a door here. So that's it. It's been kind of rough the last couple days. Yesterday was unholy wind all damn day, and that made sheet metal work extremely challenging. The day before that, when myself and my friend got the siding up, it wasn't windy. It was actually fairly warm in the mid-40s, but we weren't able to finish getting siding up because rain started coming in pretty good. So the weather's definitely changing for the worse. It's obviously end of November. So that's the update for today. I'll probably do another video when the doors are done and the shop's fully enclosed. So we'll be back. Well, this is pretty much as far as it's going to get, likely until spring. Siding is like 99% done. I still need a small strip here. I've got the sheet metal for it. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, and I need a corner flashing there. Everything else down is good to go. The other thing I need is I got to figure out door latch situation, because right now there isn't one. But here's my doors. These are double doors. This one's 32 inches, which is a standard personnel, door width. The other one is slightly wider. Everything's insulated all the way, and it's very, very nice in here right now. I got fireplace running over there, but yeah, the shop is horribly in disarray. I can hardly walk through here. So that's pretty much the rest of the job at this point, is making this into some word space. This will eventually have drywall. I have a bunch in another shop, but we are definitely not doing that today in the middle of this blizzard. So I'm a little hesitant to push the arbor press and rolling mill back up against the wall. They're probably fine where they are. I just need to do a little more organizing with everything else that's occupying space here. So yeah, that's essentially a wrap until everything is, you know, done in the spring, and that's basically just going to involve caulking and whatnot, sealing up any gaps for rain and that sort of thing. I need to spray foam that section with Great Stuff. As you can see from there to the west, I had to double up 2x6s in order to bolster the header for securing the walls up against it. But everywhere east of the window, sort of notched in section everywhere east of that, the wall is pretty well directly underneath the top header, so it's good to go. So I don't really need to bolster that up at all. So yeah, I'm a pretty happy camper. Like I said, I got a lot of work to do at this point to organize and clean up the shop, and I have to figure out these doors because yeah, the wind just blew that in a little bit. So I got this sort of hardware down here with which I can you know, bolt the door from outside, or rather inside, but I need some way of latching it from the outside so that it doesn't blow open in the middle of the night and I flood my shop with snow. So that's a wrap. We'll get this place cleaned up and make it functional and usable. So thanks a lot for watching. I didn't really do much coverage the last few days, siding and everything like that. My dad was over here and didn't really want to bother with footage with my dad in the way and all that stuff, so it is what it is. The job's essentially done. So catch you next time.